Why does nobody listen to me? What is it? Is it my skin? Is it because of the way I speak? Is it because I look better than you? Like, what's the gimmick here? I understand that when you wake up in life and you see things that make you very upset or make you feel very strong, and somebody comes in and just pumps the brake on you, you get a little bit offended. But it's okay, because it's the beauty of somebody who's just that damn good looking, who has the ability to speak his mind very poignantly about the things he likes and he dislikes, which is why I'm recommending you subscribe to the channel. But anywho, as everyone is well aware, over this past weekend, we had a No Kings protest. And over the course of last week, and maybe even the week prior, we had protests in regards to illegal immigration, ICE raids, and people getting picked up, scooped up, and sent back to countries, whether they came from there or not came from there. And one of the big topics around that are the children, and how the children have to grapple with a bunch of people ripping their families apart. I would argue a very real thing to think about in terms of how we go through this process of deportation and getting people certified to be legal people in this country known as America. But what have I been saying for a long period of time? Those of you who spend your time fixating on things that are fake often muddy the waters with things that are real. And I've also said I don't like activists, especially in this current climate, because while there are activists out there who want to spread a positive message and be about some change in the right manner, there are people who are opportunistic who will look at something and say, yeah, that's cool and all, but I see this Nike store and I want to just take things from that Nike store and go about my day. So why am I saying all these things? It's very simple. We have to deal with people who, over the course of the past few days, have been sitting in their cars, sitting on their beds, sitting out in public with a really sad face, while audio of a little girl crying and screaming bloody murder about what they would want you to believe is their parent being stolen from them and shipped off far away, with a child being left all alone.
Mamá, no me dejes. Mamá, no te vayas. Mamá, por favor. No te vayas. Mamá, por favor. Mamá, no me dejes. No te vayas. Mamá, por favor.
The fucking problem is that's not even real, and that's from a fucking movie.
Those of you using that clip of the kid screaming, saying, "Mama, don't leave me," do you even know where that came from? I'll give you a second to think about this, okay? Because you guys are just looking all over, you know, TikTok and jumping on the next trend so you can go viral. It makes me so angry when people don't research things before they post them. They just blindly share. Now, I'm not saying that I think it's right for children to be taken away from their parents. Obviously, it's not okay. I think it's terrible that these things are happening. I do feel that if you were to obtain citizenship the right way, this wouldn't happen. However, we're past that point. Once you've made that decision to not obtain citizenship the right way, unfortunately, there's nothing that I can do to stop things from happening. However, the fact that some of you guys are sharing this clip and acting like it's a real clip from a real screaming child in distress, screaming because ICE is taking their mother away from them, this is the clip and this is the movie, okay? I'm going to find out exactly the name of this movie before the end of today because I'm invested in this. But here's the actual clip. You guys are sharing a movie clip and pretending like it's a real thing. Stop doing that.
Mamá, no me dejes. Mamá.
Tranquila, ya no llores, ¿sí? Mamá va a regresar. Solo se fue al trabajo.
Here's the problem with many people like that, is that when you spend your time just taking a snippet from something and not deducing where it's from, and you just believe in what you see online without taking the time to fucking recognize that, yeah, this is from a movie, you muddy the fucking waters, because now the individuals who are completely for immigration, they're completely for getting these people out of here, are gonna look at that and say, There's no children dealing with these things. There's no children having to deal with their parents being separated, when we know that's not true, because there are actual real stories in the 2025 of children seeing their parents get taken off to the ICE facilities and sent back to countries, leaving the child in the hands of the most reliable place known to man, foster care. Great, not good at all.
Picture this. You're a 10-year-old girl with brain cancer. So life is already hard. But you're traveling from Rio Grande, Texas to Houston for an emergency checkup. You had just recently undergone brain surgery to remove a brain tumor, right? Now you and your family have made this trip a couple of times, actually 3 or 4 times. And yes, while the travel does involve you guys having to pass a ICE checkpoint, you were always given letters from doctors and from lawyers that would allow your parents to be able to go and bypass that checkpoint so that you can go and meet and make it to your emergency checkup. This time, however, ICE detains your parents. See, you and your siblings are citizens, and so at first they didn't want to detain you, but as part of Trump's promise to not separate families, they also detain you and your siblings. You are not the only one, though, who is suffering from a medical condition. You have a 15-year-old sister who has a heart condition as well. They then take all of you guys and deport you to Mexico. And now your parents are in fear for your life every day because they don't know how are you going to manage now that you no longer have access to your doctors. And your Hispanic brothers and sisters here in America, when they had the chance to vote, purposely voted against your best interests. And so now you and your family are worried for not just your survival, but also the survival for your other sibling who has a heart condition that, if not monitored and treated, can be fatal. By all means, definitely go and fact check this. You can go and find it on NBC News. The family's name was not in the article because currently where they are in Mexico, it's famously known for kidnapping U.S. citizens, and being that the children are U.S. citizens, they don't want to jeopardize their safety. In the article, it states that when they were being detained, the mother pleaded out with authorities, letting them know of her daughter's health conditions, but they didn't care. It states, and in quotations, they weren't interested in hearing that. So all of you Hispanic Americans, you vote Donald Trump, Hispanic Americans who actually decided to use your vote to try to solidify whatever idea of white superiority or the proximity to white superiority, instead of voting for the best interest of your people, you now are part of the reason why this little girl is away from her medical physician. She's away from her medical care. Why her and her parents are now worried for her health and for her life. Because even though she's a U.S. citizen, because you guys were all, yeah, you got to do it the right way, when you probably didn't even do it the right way, right? Because you guys wanted to go and kiss some white ass, this little girl had to be deported with her family. And now, if she passes away, it is on y'all hands.
And instead of focusing on that, these motherfuckers just came up with some bullshit. Why? To pull on heartstrings, to tug at your emotions, to try to make you feel as though this is wrong and you should not be on the side of it, when a lot of these motherfucking conservatives are just like, hey, I don't give a fuck, this is what I voted for. And because you're lying, hey, double back and do it another time. Because, hey, since you're lying about this, it's double what I voted for. You cannot spend your time bragging or promoting something that is fake, and then when you get caught, just turn your comments off, delete the video, not even address that you were spreading bullshit, not even take the time to say, I'm sorry, here's a real story, not even focus on a real story. It is the reason why I will always have a bone to pick with online activism, because it's very easy to get online and pretend to give a fuck. It's very easy to get online and pretend like you care. It's very easy to be be distracted and promote something that is complete bull, a movie, instead of focusing on the real, because the real is just too traumatic, but the fake is only slightly traumatic, and I could get away with feigning emotion in all regards. If you actually care about the whole process of how people are getting removed from their families, if you actually care about children being separated from their parents, if you actually care about ICE raids and how good or bad that they could actually be, focus on the real and stop making signs to post on Instagram, because it's clear as fucking day you do not care and you just trying your fucking hardest to pretend to give a fuck, and it's getting annoying and it's getting sad. And ultimately your opposition, the conservatives, the Trump supporters, who are very much in lockstep with each other about this, even though they daddies then broke up and then made up all within 3 days of each other, yeah, they're celebrating seeing shit like this. They're celebrating enjoying all the fruits of their labor of what they voted for, and ultimately they're gonna keep being happy about it as long as dumb fucks run around promoting fake shit instead of real shit. This is not how you get people on your side. It's how you make people hate you just a little bit more. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a leftist. I'm not a rightist. In terms of my own beliefs, fuck them both, because my country's been in shambles since before I was even a semen in my father's nutsack. And that's just the name of the fucking game. But I will always be here to see some bullshit and call it out for what it is. Absolute bullshit. And for that reason, I think you should subscribe to this channel so that I could see you in the next one. Mwah! Goodbye.